What's the stupidest thing you've seen a grown-ass adult get angry over? I lent somebody money with promises to pay back a week later. After a couple of weeks, I asked about the money. He gave me so much shit about hassling him over such a small amount of money. He was saying that I should have let him have it. Oh no, that's not how this shit works. A guy with his kids inside a McDonald's which was inside a Walmart. He brought his order back to the counter and asked the pregnant cashier who doesn't get paid enough to deal with this shit what he ordered. His attitude started out calm enough, but anybody who has worked food service long enough could tell he was going to be one of those customers that just blows up in a rage after they've made their point. He explained that he had ordered a different sandwich, and she replied that, no, he ordered what they had given him. He was shouting and swearing. A manager got involved and told him they would just give him the money back. So he took his money back, aggressively of course, and said to his kids in a loud and self-righteous tone, "Come on kids. Let's go to a real McDonald's." Bro needed to get over himself. Went with some friends to New York City in the first couple of weeks of December to do Christmas-y things in the city. One of those things was to go to FAO Schwartz, but because there were so many other people trying to do the same thing, we had to wait in line. It was a 50-minute wait in line, and we were queued up. Line wrapped around the block, and in that time we got to yuck it up with the people in line with us. I turned around to say something to friends, then turned back around to move forward, and noticed two strange women ahead of me that were not in line a moment before. I turned back around to give my friends a, "You seeing this shit" look at the women that cut when a guy with a stroller tried to brush past me. I stopped him dead in his tracks by standing in front of the stroller. I told him that the back of the line was down the block, and about a 40-minute wait from our current spot. He just looked at me like I was the asshole and said, "Thanks for the information, but I am trying to get to the rest of my group," while nodding to the women that cut the line when I wasn't looking. The people ahead of us that we had been joking with heard the commotion that I was making, and started in on the women that cut the line. The guy was looking angrier and angrier as he kept trying to get past me, and finally the line as a whole managed to get the line cutters to shove off. As the group of line cutters were leaving, the guy looked back and shot me some colorful comments about the quality of my character and left. "Yeah, I don't care that you are upset that I wouldn't let you, your infant," and two women in tow cut the line. A flight having to emergency land. A few years back I was on a flight to Florida. When about halfway through, the oxygen masks deployed. Thankfully we didn't have to use them. The captain made an announcement that there was a problem with cabin pressure, and to expect a few minutes of a bumpy ride while he descended to a safe altitude. A man sitting in the row in front of me yelled out, "Oh, come on." I had been staring at the back of this man's head through the seat gap for most of the flight, because he had a rat tail, and I had not seen anyone with this hairstyle since the early 90s. I was transfixed. Shortly after, the captain came back on the speaker and said we were going to be landing at the closest major airport to change planes and to prepare for landing, seatbelts trays upright, etc. Rat tail dude was pissed and began loudly ranting to the point 2 flight attendants had to come over to him. In the next 2 minutes the entire plane learned his life story and the reason he was going to Florida. His wife cheated on him, and he met a woman on a dating website. He was going to Tampa to meet for the first time, and the best part, she's pissed she has to get me from the airport as it is. She barely has enough gas to get to the airport, and now because you people feel like switching planes she's going to run out of gas waiting for me in the pickup area. The poor flight attendants kept trying to explain to him, the plane may have a small leak, it was crucial we landed as quickly as possible, and it would not take long to deplane and switch aircraft. During this time the pilot came on the speaker twice telling the flight attendants to take their seats for landing, but dude was so out of control it was risking their safety. He would not stop. He told the flight attendants, and well, everyone, that it's bullshit, there is no problem, and if there was we could just keep on oxygen masks the entire time if we needed them, and there's probably not even a problem. I bet the pilot just has to take a shit and doesn't want to do it on the plane. By now all of us around him were telling him to stop, and one of the flight attendants told him if he continued he would not even make it to Florida, since he wouldn't be allowed to get on the new plane because he was out of control. Thankfully, he stopped yelling, and the flight attendants were able to get to their seats, but continued to mutter to himself as the plane landed, and we were pulling up to the gate. They kept him on the plane as everyone else was getting off. I was sitting in the airport by the gate with everyone waiting for customer service to tell us more info about getting on the next plane, when I saw 2 airport/state police being let onto the jet bridge. Unfortunately, I didn't see him get off the plane, as we were moved to a different gate, but it felt really good knowing that this total jackass wouldn't be making it to Florida to meet his internet love. His antics and loud mouth put the flight attendants in danger, and stressed out other passengers in an already tense situation. It amazes me that people like that exist, and believe that a plane with a potential problem might continue on if you put up enough of a scene. If I had a nickel for every time a pilot poked a hole in the cabin of my flight, just so he could land early, I would have 0 nickel. Because that's insane. Friend of mine got seriously hurt off a 50+ foot ski jump trying to avoid this 6-year-old girl hanging out in the blind landing. My friend is on the ground crying with his broken leg and ribs, and the father of this girl had the audacity to go stand over him and start screaming at him about how he could have killed his daughter. The 6-year-old hanging out in a blind spot where professional athletes were training. The mass of the park surrounded this guy quickly and told him they'd better never see him in a terrain park teaching his daughter how to ski on the landings of massive jumps, and proceeded to escort him and his daughter down the mountain. Ducking idiot almost got his daughter killed, permanently injured my friend, and then decided to come scream at an injured person who just hurt themselves to save his daughter's life. Edit, and before any other skiers call me or my buddy or anyone else there out, this was a very secluded and secured area. Somehow this dad and small daughter ducked a ton of fences to go hang out in the landing of a very large jump. There were spotters. Somehow this lovely duo came out of nowhere to go have fun in the landing, and no one really thought to be looking for random little kids breaking into the park. There's a fast food restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which goes by the name of Teriyaki Chicken Bowl. Its fare is about what you'd expect from such an establishment, meaning that while it isn't exactly 5-star cuisine, it nonetheless serves as a decent enough alternative to the burger and taco dominated menus of competing businesses. It was that sense of variety which prompted me to visit the place one evening, and while I was there, I had the misfortune of seeing a toddler-like tantrum being thrown by a 30-something-year-old woman. Now, I'll confess right away that I came in about midway through whatever had been happening, so I don't know if there were any extenuating circumstances. At the same time, though, I can't imagine what could have transpired to make this sort of behavior acceptable. The woman, an overweight individual with curly brown hair, came storming out of the restaurant, a white plastic bag clutched in her hands. She was soon followed by a tall, fit young man who rushed up to her side and spoke to her in a hushed voice. "No, I don't care," the woman shouted. "It's too late. Don't do this here," I heard the man plead. "Don't cause a scene." "Oh, I'm causing a scene?" snarled the woman. "What about you? You're causing a scene. You didn't say anything, and now it's all ruined. Can we talk about this in car, please?" The woman's chest rose and fell several times before she answered, and when she did, it came out in the form of an ear-piercing screech. "I'm not going anywhere with you. I can't believe this. I can't believe this." I was still seated in my own car at this point, waiting for the scene to subside before I approached the restaurant. This turned out to be a wise decision on my part, since all hell broke loose only a few seconds later. The young man reached a comforting hand out to his companion, placing it lightly on her shoulder. "Look, let's just forget about it. We can stop for ice cream on the way home." "Ice cream?" the woman repeated. She took several more panting breaths, and the expression on her face gave the distinct impression that an eruption was on its way. "Ice cream? Ice cream? I don't want ice cream. I want a chicken bowl." As the final syllables shot from her lips, the woman yanked apart the plastic bag she'd been holding, causing its contents to fall all over the parking lot. I watched as white containers dropped to the ground, popping open to reveal sauce-covered meat and rice. "Chicken bowl. The woman screamed again. She stomped on the fallen food, grinding it into the pavement with her heel. Chicken bowl. Chicken bowl. Chicken bowl. This continued for an impressively long time, with the woman making as much noise as she possibly could, while she destroyed the last remnants of her meal. Try though I might, I couldn't make heads or tails of what had upset her, given that she seemed to be in the process of obliterating the exact thing she had claimed to want. She did eventually calm down enough to approach the young man's car, or maybe she just ran out of breath, but she didn't get in until after she had delivered several petulantly enraged kicks to the passenger side door. I found myself wondering why the young man put up with that sort of behavior. There's no accounting for taste, I guess. TLDR, Titanic toddler throws teriyaki tantrum. Not having a specific toy, Hatchimals, in stock at the store I work at on Christmas Eve in 2017. We got those duckers in almost every day, and they sold out within a couple of hours of being opened without fail. This bitch was having a full-on hissy fit because we ruined her daughter's Christmas. No, Tracy, you ruined her Christmas. It's not our fault we don't have any in stock at 5:30 PM the day before Christmas, you ducking space cadet. Ah, this is the ducking worst. Do people really have this little awareness of the world? I was about to snap this holiday season at the number of people who were shocked we didn't have certain things in stock on Christmas Eve. It's even better when you see people bishing online, like Facebook Marketplace, or even in the review section of Toys R Us when something is sold out and the customer hadn't even bought it, about how their only choice is to pay a ridiculous cost for the toy on the private market, and how dare the business do that to them. I remember one comment was a woman having an entitled meltdown/coronary over the fact that someone was forcing her to pay $200 plus for this toy that her kid absolutely needed to have for Christmas. Give me a ducking break. Never mind all the people shitting themselves during that Build-A-Bear Pay Your Age promo that was held a few months back. People were losing their minds on the Build-A-Bear Facebook page, acting like total assholes over the fact they couldn't get a teddy bear for $4. Instead of the regular $12, or $20 or $30, and demanding compensation. What the duck? Had a boss who took a trip to the college football championship game. His tickets were like $1,500 each. When he got back, we asked him how his trip went. In a high-pitched whine, he said everything sucked because his nachos were cold. Can you imagine how much life must suck for someone like that? I mean, if nachos are able to completely ruin an expensive trip like that, it must be impossible to find anything that matches his standards for having a good time. My mom got so mad she was red in the face. It was about biscuits at a restaurant not being perfect. When I was younger, I realized that I couldn't recall a single dining out experience with my mother where she didn't complain about at least one thing associated with the meal. I've been tracking it now for over 2 decades. I still cannot recall a single time she hasn't complained. She never makes a huge scene, but she has been rude to the waitstaff a number of times, and has sent food back many, many times. I can't imagine how much spit she has eaten in her life. My grandma is a type 2 diabetic. When she was staying with my family after Hurricane Harvey destroyed her trailer, she got really pissed off that my stepdad was making healthy meals for her, instead of her favorites like fries, pizza, hamburgers, pasta, etc. My stepdad being type 2 as well, he said he wasn't going to enable her horrible eating habits and let her slowly kill herself. Edit, she's 59 years old, so it's not like she's 80 and has lived a full life and should stuff her face before she dies. Her stuffing her face is what's gonna cause her to die early. Plus, we didn't force her to eat the healthy food. We told her she's welcome to eat what she wants if she buys it herself, but we're not going to be the ones responsible for her worsening health.